This is Chris, and this is going to be another Game of Thrones Season 6 teaser breakdown. The March Madness teaser that was released had mostly the same footage as the trailer before it had, but a few different angles. But there are some new shots that are pretty damn interesting, so let's talk about it. There will be spoilers, at least speculation. We're in the Great Game now, and it's pretty damn terrifying. So if you don't want to know nothing about the Great Game, go ahead and click away now. So let's jump right in. We open up with a shot of Dany walking with the Khalasar, this time just a different angle from the trailer. She is taking pause, looking at something going forward, but I call this going backwards. I think this definitely ties into the Quaithe prophecy as far as her going back to be with the Khalasar, going back to her roots. She must go backwards before she goes forward. But I think the point of this shot here is to show how unimportant she is to these people right now, because she gets kicked in the back, saying, move along, keep going, keep marching, you're going to be a crone on the lake, and she's not too damn happy about it. And next we have Tyrion's voiceover, and he says, are you afraid? You should be. You're in the Great Game now, and the Great Game is terrifying. And as his voiceover starts, we see him marching down the steps of the throne room with Missandei and Grey Worm. Looks like he's going to meet the Masters. I'm going to go out on a werewood limb here and say that he's probably talking to Dany after she gets back with the Khalasar right before they head over to Westeros. A lot of people would say probably that Dany has already been in the Great Game. She's already been playing the Game of Thrones, but not really. She's really just taken over Meereen and a couple cities over in the east with her dragons and her army, and she's been learning this whole time how to be a queen, etc. But she's not really been in the Great Game of Thrones for Westeros yet. So either he's talking to her when she gets back and they decide to head to Westeros finally. Perhaps he could be talking to Missandei or Grey Worm or something to that effect, since they're ruling in her stead while she's missing and probably presumed dead. He could also be talking to the Masters, since they're vying to get their power back as well. But there's very few people he could be talking to here. But I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably Dany once she gets back and decides to make her play on the actual Iron Throne. Then we see the shot again of the flayed man on fire, and then it kind of transitions over to Ramsay. And what's interesting here is this is during Tyrion's voiceover, and when he says the word terrifying, it shows Ramsay again, probably in the Battle of the North, because whether you like him or not, he's pretty damn terrifying. Then we have a shot of Sansa and Theon running through the woods. No surprise here, same as the trailer. They're escaping from Winterfell, being chased by Bolton men. Then again, we see Jaime returning to King's Landing on the ship from Dorne with Myrcella's body. Then it flashes over to Cersei on the dock, so to speak, waiting for Myrcella and Jaime to return. Probably looking forward to it, but she's not going to get good news here. During these shots, the High Sparrow starts his voiceover talking to Tommen. We're all sinful creatures. We deserve death. We all do. And what's interesting in this little voiceover is when he says sinful creatures is when they show the shot of Cersei, because, you know, she's not a silent sister. And then, of course, we see the High Sparrow talking to Tommen when he's saying all this, and this is likely indicating that Tom will probably end up joining the faith. And then we see a shot that clarifies what I said in my last trailer breakdown about the Tyrell army that shows Jaime from the front this time. He is the one on the steps of the Sept, and he is there to probably lead the Tyrell army to get Marjorie and Tommen back. So this does confirm this is the Tyrell army. As you can see, there are sigils in the background, and Jaime looks to be a little pissed off. So we may get a little bit of old Jaime this year. Then as the High Sparrow continues his diatribe, we see Brienne likely killing Bolton men, because again, like we mentioned before in our predictions videos, I think Brienne's the one who probably meets up and saves Theon and Sansa, or at least one or the other if they're not already separated from the Bolton hunting parties. And then we have a shot of Drogon, and this motherfucker is huge. He's flying over the Khalasar here, and it shows just how big he's gotten. He's been eating a lot. And what's interesting about this shot here is his huge shadow on the ground showing just how big he's gotten. And according to one prophecy that we're all aware of, Dany needs to pass beneath a shadow. So this is likely the time that Drogon comes to the rescue. He's going to have himself a huge Dothraki barbecue. They'll probably all shit their breeches, bow down to Dany again, and she'll once again be Khaleesi of the Great Grass Sea, head back to Meereen likely, and then finally over to Westeros. And then we hear Jaqen start his voiceover where he says, one way or the other, the gift will be given, as in death. One way or the other, a face will be added to the hall. And during this voiceover, we likely see again some Northern horses in the battle for the North. You really can't see any sigils here, so it's hard to say who exactly this is, whether it's like Team Jon or Team Ramsay. We see Blind Arya or Blind Beth in the books. And then we get another tease for the Tower of Joy flashback that Bran will be having. We're not really sure if they're going to name these characters in the show, but the only difference here in this shot, as far as the difference between the teaser and the trailer that came out previously, is that we see one of Ned's men getting pimp slapped. But it's hard to tell who this is because all we see is a lot of blurred mustaches and beards. And this next scene is really badass to me. We see Wine crashing through a gate here. This is Castle Black. This is not Winterfell. A lot of people have speculated this may be Winterfell. But if you look here at this shot of Stannis leaving Castle Black when he was headed south, you'll see this is the same battlements, the same stonework, etc. So this is him breaking through the gates of Castle Black. Now what's interesting here is he's breaking into Castle Black, not out of Castle Black. If you look here in this shot, the doors open inward from the outside, so 1-1 is pushing the doors open from the outside. We know the wildlings came through. Maybe they're already settled on the gift at this point. This probably has something to do with Jon's death, perhaps. Maybe they hear about it. Torment Giant Spain 1-1 and the leaders of the Wildlings, or it could be related to the Azor Ahai prophecy with Jon coming back, although I don't think we'll see this in the show. In the books, there was a guy there named Sir Patrick. He was a Queen's Guard of Selyse as Stannis is still at the wall, and his cloak is a cloak of 5-pointed stars. 1-1 actually kills him in the books by banging him up against the wall, beating him to a bloody pulp, right before Jon gets stabbed in the book. And this leads a lot of people to believe that this is the piece of the Azor Ahai prophecy about Jon being reborn under a bleeding star. But I love some damn 1-1. I hope we see him break through damn Winterfell as well and hammer Ramsay Bolton into the ground like a fucking nail. Then we have Tyrion again looking up in the dragon pit, probably looking at Rhaegal over Syrian before he shits his pants and lets him go. Then we have the shot again from the trailer where Arya is learning parkour. Perhaps she's running from the wave here. Then we have the shot from the trailer again where Drogon is flying, likely before he descends on the Khalasar and makes Dothraki barbecue. And then we have one of the most interesting shots of this entire teaser. We have the Night's King walking away from a large fire in the background. Now this could be a vision, it could be real time, we really don't know, but where is he at where something could be burning other than perhaps Bloodraven's cave like I mentioned in the behind the scenes video. But I have deduced that he is walking away from the fire because if you pause it here you can see a slight hint of a nose. I also tried to compare to the shot with him and Bran's vision when he grabs his arm that I'll talk about in just a second, and he wears his ice sword on his right shoulder, and here he has no ice sword, so you can only deduce from that he's probably carrying it. There's also something on his collar here that sticks out a little bit, perhaps some fabric or whatever, and I tried to compare it as well to the shot with Bran, and I can't see really anything there on his collar, so it's hard to tell which way he was facing. The question is, did he walk through the fire? Because we saw in season 5 when Jon was fighting the White Walker at Hardhome that they had this pyrokinesis ability where fire just kind of melts away from them as they walk through it or near it. So they're not afraid of regular fire. However, I think dragon fire is probably a different story. Then we have more northern horses falling because what's Game of Thrones without a bunch of horses falling all over the place? These people don't really like horses. And then, of course, we see Jaqen talking to Arya when he has this voiceover saying one way or the other, a face will be added to the hall. And basically what he's saying here, it doesn't matter if it's Arya or her target, one way or the other, the many-faced god, being death, will get his face. Then we have some really quick shots of some of our main characters. Those include Tyrion, Cersei, Sansa, Dany, Jaime, Arya, and Theon. And the only thing I would point out here is Theon here crying to probably Sansa standing in front of him. And I'm guessing this is probably where they part ways because I do think he survives. I do think they part ways at some point after Brienne perhaps saves them and he heads back to the Iron Island. And then probably the most interesting piece of the teaser here is the same shot that we saw in the trailer of Bran and his vision seeing the White Walkers and the Night's King. But this time, the Night's King grabs his arm. You can see here that it is his arm being grabbed. It is his armor. That is Bran's arm, it seems, as he turns around and sees him. Now, obviously, this is a vision because Bran is standing up. We don't know if this is the future yet, or if the past, or present day for that matter, because he can see all three. But this begs the question, why is he able to see Bran in the vision? Either they just have some kind of power to see you literally in the vision where other people don't, or perhaps this implies that wherever he is, at least in the TV show, that people can see him in the vision, like he is actually there in the moment, whether it's the past, the future, or the present. But that would imply that he's like time traveling. So perhaps it's as simple as the Night's King or White Walkers in general have the ability to sense somebody and see him in a vision when nobody else could. Or perhaps I was thinking something that me and Val mentioned back in one of our predictions videos where perhaps Bran is actually warged into a White Walker here other than the Night's King, and the Night's King is seeing a White Walker turn around looking scared shitless because it's actually Bran skin chains and controlling him, and we're just seeing Bran, but the Night's King actually sees a White Walker and he's grabbing him like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Because he's turning around looking all crazy and scared. So I'm just throwing this out there. It's kind of insane to think about, but we all want him to war dragons and other things, so why not a White Walker, right? So this could actually be Bran controlling a White Walker, and the Night's King sees a White Walker all of a sudden start turning around looking around like he don't know what the hell's going on, but us as TV viewers are seeing Bran as he's in his vision seeing what the hell's going on with the White Walkers. Just being a visual thing for TV. So anyway guys, that's all I had for this particular teaser. We may see another one before the season starts, so we'll see what happens. I don't think they're going to release too much. I think next, Val and I from Because Geek will be recording our Jon and Dany predictions videos, so be on the lookout for those. In the meantime, you can click here for the last video I did on the behind the scenes trailer footage where it has some implications that the White Walkers may be attacking Bloodraven in the cave system at weirwood.net. And you can also click here for the last video I did on the trailer update, which was a little addendum video I did to the trailer breakdown, so check those out. Let me know what you think. If you dig what I do here, give this video a like, be sure to subscribe to get everything. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. And he wears his ice. Come on, man.